was a cold, moonless night when Emily's parents left for their weekend getaway, leaving her alone in their creaky, old Victorian house. The wind howled through the trees, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. She tried to shake off the unease that settled in her chest as she locked the front door behind them. As the hours passed, the house seemed to grow quieter, enveloped in an eerie stillness. Emily, determined to make the best of her solitude, decided to explore the attic, a place she had always found intriguing yet slightly unsettling. Armed with a flashlight, she climbed the narrow, wooden stairs to the attic. Cobwebs hung in the corners, and dust motes danced in the beam of her light. She moved cautiously, peering into old trunks and forgotten relics, until her eyes fell upon an ornate, dusty mirror tucked away in the corner. Its frame was adorned with intricate carvings, and the glass was clouded with age. Emily's reflection appeared distorted, as if the mirror held secrets of its own. As she gazed into it, a shiver ran down her spine, and she quickly turned away. That night, sleep eluded her. Every creak, every whisper of the wind seemed amplified in the silence. Hours stretched into eternity, and she found herself drawn back to the attic. The mirror seemed to beckon her, its surface seeming even darker than before. As Emily approached, she gasped. In the glass, a shadowy figure moved, its form shifting and contorting. Her heart raced, and she stumbled backward, but the figure remained, its presence undeniable. Panic set in, and she fled the attic, slamming the door shut behind her. Determined to unravel the mystery, Emily scoured the old diaries and letters she found in the attic, hoping to find clues to the shadow's origin. Late into the night, she uncovered a passage in a faded journal, written by a long-forgotten occupant of the house. The mirror is a gateway, a vessel for something beyond our understanding. We sealed it away, but it yearns to be free. With a sinking feeling, Emily realized the mirror was no ordinary object. It was a conduit for a malevolent force trapped within. Days turned to nights, each one more oppressive than the last. The shadow grew bolder, venturing beyond the confines of the attic. It lurked in the corners of her vision, a dark specter that seemed to feed on her fear. Desperation set in, and Emily knew she had to confront the mirror. Armed with knowledge from the journal, she returned to the attic, determined to break the curse that bound the shadow. As she stood before the mirror, she recited the incantation she had found, her voice trembling but resolute. Suddenly, a blinding light engulfed the attic. Emily shielded her eyes, her heart pounding in her chest. When she dared to look again, the mirror was shattered, shards scattered across the attic floor. The room seemed to sigh in relief, the oppressive presence lifted. Exhausted but victorious, Emily knew she had faced a darkness few could comprehend. As she descended the attic stairs, she felt a newfound strength, a sense of resilience that would stay with her forever. From that night on, the old Victorian house held a different energy. The shadows no longer seemed foreboding, and the wind whispered a gentler lullaby. Emily had confronted the darkness within, emerging stronger, and she knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage and resolve. Emily had never been fond of her parents' new house. It was an old Victorian mansion that seemed to ooze with history and secrets. Her family had moved there a few months ago, and it always gave her an unsettling feeling. Yet, what troubled her most was the ornate, antique mirror that hung in the hallway. One evening, as her parents left for a weekend getaway, Emily found herself home alone. She watched them drive away, and an uneasy silence settled over the house. She decided to distract herself by exploring the labyrinthine corridors. As she walked down the dimly lit hallway, her gaze was drawn to the mirror. It was a magnificent piece with an intricately carved frame that seemed to whisper tales of its own. Emily hesitated for a moment, then approached it and gazed at her reflection. For a split second, her reflection seemed to waver. Her heart skipped a beat, and she leaned closer, her breath misting up the glass. Then, it happened again. Her reflection grinned at her, revealing teeth far sharper than any human should possess. Panicking, Emily stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest. The mirror seemed normal once more, and Emily tried to shake off the bizarre vision as a trick of the light or her imagination. But as she continued exploring the house, odd occurrences began to unfold. Objects moved on their own, footsteps echoed in empty rooms, and whispers lingered in the air. Unable to explain the eerie events, Emily returned to the mirror, determined to confront whatever was happening. As she stared into it, her reflection changed once more. This time, the sinister grin grew wider, and her reflection's eyes turned a malevolent shade of crimson. Emily realized that the mirror held a malevolent force, something that wanted to switch places with her. Terrified, she tried to cover the mirror with a bedsheet, but the reflection persisted, still grinning at her. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the mirror as a voice, icy and filled with longing, spoke from within its depths. "Let me out, Emily. I've been trapped here for so long." Emily stumbled back from the mirror, her mind racing. She remembered hearing whispers in town about the previous owners, tales of disappearances, and a mirror that held a dark secret. She realized that she needed to uncover the truth to break this sinister connection. With trembling hands, Emily delved into the house's history. She discovered that a girl named Eliza had lived in the house decades ago. She had been obsessed with the mirror and, as the story went, disappeared one fateful night. The connection between Eliza and the mirror was undeniable, and Emily was determined to free them both. Equipped with this knowledge, Emily returned to the mirror, her reflection once again grinning menacingly. She spoke firmly, "Eliza, I know you're trapped in there. I want to help you, but you must promise not to harm me." The reflection slowly nodded, the crimson eyes fading to their normal color. "I've been trapped for so long," it whispered. Emily knew what she had to do. She began researching how to break the mirror's curse. It involved a complex ritual involving a special key hidden within the house and reciting an incantation passed down through generations. It was risky, but she was determined to free Eliza and herself from the mirror's malevolent grip. Late one stormy night, with trembling hands, Emily carried out the ritual. Lightning illuminated the house as the mirror's surface rippled like water. A gust of wind rushed through the hallway, and Emily felt herself being pulled towards the mirror. She held onto the key and recited the incantation with all her might. Suddenly, the mirror shattered with an ear-piercing scream, and Emily was thrown back, landing on the floor. When she regained her senses, the mirror lay in ruins, and the malevolent presence was gone. She had broken the curse. In the weeks that followed, Emily couldn't help but feel that the house was lighter, the air less oppressive. She had saved herself from the haunted mirror's grasp, but she couldn't help but wonder if Eliza had found peace on the other side. As she moved on with her life, she couldn't shake the feeling that the old Victorian mansion still held many more secrets, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to uncover its mysteries. It was a stormy night when Emily found the doll, hidden away in the dusty corners of the attic. Its porcelain face held a serene, yet melancholic expression, its eyes seeming to hold untold secrets. She cradled it in her arms, feeling an odd connection to the inanimate figure. As the rain poured down outside, Emily's parents announced they had an emergency business trip and would be gone for the weekend. She was used to being home alone, but the storm and the newly acquired doll seemed to add an eerie air to the house. That night, after a dinner of microwave leftovers, Emily sat in her room with the doll on her lap. It seemed to watch her, its eyes gleaming in the dim light. She placed it on the shelf across from her bed before turning in for the night. As the hours passed, Emily was awakened by a soft rustling. She glanced around, her heart pounding in the darkness. The doll was gone. Panic set in. Had she imagined it? She searched the room frantically, but there was no sign of the porcelain figure. Dismissing it as a trick of her tired mind, Emily tried to go back to sleep. But every creak, every shadow seemed amplified in the empty house. Morning came, bringing no sign of the doll. Over the next few days, Emily's unease grew. She found herself checking every corner of the house, half expecting to find the doll lurking in the shadows. Her friends teased her about her newfound obsession, but they couldn't understand the unease that had taken root in her heart. One night, as the wind howled outside, Emily awoke to a faint melody drifting through the house. It was the soft, haunting tune of a music box. Trembling, she followed the sound, which led her to the attic door. The music grew louder with each step. She pushed open the attic door, heart pounding, and was met with a chilling sight. The doll sat on a dusty old chair, a vintage music box in its porcelain hands, playing the haunting melody. Its eyes seemed to gleam with a sinister glint. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She stepped forward, determined to reclaim the doll and put an end to this madness. But as she reached out, the doll's eyes seemed to flash, and in a blink, it vanished. Panic surged through Emily. She searched the attic frantically, but there was no trace of the doll. It was as if it had never been there. She stumbled back down the attic stairs, heart pounding, her mind racing with fear and confusion. The next morning, Emily was determined to uncover the truth. She delved into the history of the house, unearthing old newspaper articles and dusty records. It revealed a dark secret: the previous owners, a family that had mysteriously disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a single porcelain doll. Terrified but resolute, Emily returned to the attic, armed with newfound knowledge. She confronted the doll, demanding answers. As the hours passed, a spectral presence seemed to fill the room, its anguished whispers echoing through the attic. Emily realized that the doll was bound to the house, its spirit trapped by a malevolent force. With courage and determination, she unraveled the dark mystery, piecing together the events that had led to the doll's entrapment. In a final, chilling confrontation, Emily set the doll free, breaking the curse that had held it for so long. As the doll's porcelain features softened, a sense of gratitude emanated from its eyes. With a final, gentle smile, the doll faded away, leaving behind only a lingering sense of peace. From that day on, the house felt different, lighter, as if a heavy presence had lifted. Emily knew she had faced a terrifying ordeal, but she had also brought closure to a restless spirit. The disappearing doll was a tale she would carry with her, a reminder of the unseen forces that can lurk within the walls of even the most ordinary homes.